panels. And a couple everything seems pretty waterproof. Hello Tool Talk fans. I just got off work and I got caught in a small downpour here on Guam, and it was gonna happen. I have a cover for it. Couldn't get to work in time to cover it up, so it rained inside the Jeep. You kind of got to pick your battles with the weather. So you can see it's a pretty blue sky, but there's these updrafts and just random storms hitting the island right now. So it might be beautiful like it is now, and the next minute the sky's black and it's just pouring rain down. So what do we have to deal with? Well, I already pulled the plugs, but I can show you in the rear floor that we have standing water. Probably like a quarter inch or so. Not too bad. It didn't get to my subwoofers, so that's good. The seats are nice and wet. The cup holders are swimming in water, and the floorboards are pretty soaked. So wanted to share with you how waterproof is the Jeep. So what we do have, probably give it, let's say 10 minutes of good heavy downpour, and then it stops. So we have some puddles, some water laying in there under the shifter, under the e-brake, my good old COVID mask. There's some water laying in here, but these kind of are soaking some of it up because they're pads that hold the water, so they're probably under there. I keep this locked so there's no water in it, and the seats are probably like, I mean, they're 100% wet, but I sat in it and my back and butt are soaked, so there's enough water there to kind of give you an idea. And then there's some standing water in the gear, the boot, a little bit in there, but it didn't get behind the dash. The truck is good to go. I drove it home, everything worked fine. It just has some water on the controls, nothing too crazy. But I thought I'd make a video for YouTube, because this is kind of one of those things that, like, you're gonna get stuck. If you have a Jeep and you love to take the top off, you're gonna get caught in the rain. So most of the air kind of blew out, a lot of it. Pretty stoked with how it's handling the water. Obviously, I mean, it sucks that, you know, there's water coming out of everything. I tried to dry it out. I was going down the road, so it's a lot drier than it was. There was water that will stand inside your speaker bar, not inside the speaker, but on top of it. So the water's like coming out. This is the Mopar mesh top. Obviously didn't offer any protection for rain, but I don't know. I kind of find it funny. The plugs worked great. I pulled them on the Mopar mats, and the water just drained out on the two fronts. I'm about to put some work into it. I just wanted to share with you guys what you do when you have your top off and your truck or Jeep get rained on. So let's get to the cleanup. Okay, so first things first, I am going to start by using a small, I have a Stanley shop vac, and this is a smaller unit that I bought just for the Jeep to pick up small messes. And it's I'm gonna put a foam filter to catch some of the gunk instead of it comes with a paper one. I remove the paper filter and I just put this foam one on there, just purchased. And just for an occasion like this, I knew this was gonna happen eventually. So I already had this, and bam. So that's protects the particles from just flying out of there as we soak up some of this water. So you might be wondering why I am vacuuming rather than just drying alone. The vacuuming part actually gets a lot of the water up first so that I can get the rest of the moisture with the towel. If I don't vacuum first, if I lift something up, it's just gonna pour out all over the floor somewhere else. So that's kind of my method to the madness. You can do it either way, just use towels, but I kind of want to see how much water I can suck up into this vacuum. So we're gonna get at it. Okay, so I didn't really intend to make this video incredibly long and detailed, but the couple of things to take away here, maybe 2 or 3 things to take away here. A towel is good, but if you have a place like where you live close to saltwater or the sea, I'm like a mile from the beach on Guam, I get salt spots all over the truck. And in the interior, it's one thing to have it on the paint and then wax it out, but like it's all over the majority of the plastics in the truck. So get some cleaner, rub it around on the towel, and go through and get all of your interior pieces. The other thing is that a lot of the crevices of the Jeep had little bits of water in them, and there were just so many things you have to go back. I didn't do all of them, but the visors, the corners, the crevices of the dash, just the steering wheel. Oh my word, I had to hit the steering wheel with the vacuum cleaner over and over to get all the water out of the crevices. So there are little areas that the truck will kind of reservoir and hold water, especially the sound bar. That was another one where I had to go up there and suck the water out, and I think I caught some of that in the video. But the overall I think turned out pretty stinking good. Looks like it's been detailed, but that's just because I wanted to get the saltwater spots off all of the interior. The truck's cleaned up now. I've got to let it sit out and dry. I'm gonna leave the mats in the back of the pickup bed. All of these areas, I used the vacuum in here. It sucked all the water out of this. A lot came out of here, and a lot of it came out of these crevices here. And then the big ones were up here. I kept flipping this thing, and every time I did that, there'd be water just laying in here. So hit it with the vacuum, pulled all that water out, and got all the salty water spots off of it that I could. But you know how the interior shows a lot of spots, it just is. And then pulled this all apart and got all of that with the vacuum. So much of the interior was dry. The under the seats was mostly dry. The console was dry. The dash glove compartment was dry. The lock areas where the back seats were not. All of that area back there needed to be pulled and dried out. The floor, took all the mats out and dried all that. So hope there was something that I could have showed you and you can take away from that. The big thing is use a vacuum to get in the crevices. Use a towel wherever else you can. Go over it twice and go back and make sure you get it again. I know a lot of guys are like, it's a Jeep, dude, so what? But for me, I'll go out and play with it, and then I'll bring it home and wash it. And it's and I mean, I'll get under the chassis and get all the mud and the dirt off of it. I'm not a real big mud guy, but when I do go into trails, there's going to be mud on the trail. I'll come back and clean all that off the surfaces. Guam's just going to cause a lot of issues with salt and corrosion. So take that into account as well. I may be a little bit more detail oriented on those things because of the situation I'm in, but hopefully some of this will give you some ideas as to how to detail and how to clean up after a wash. So click like, subscribe if you guys like this content. This was just a off-the-cuff video, wasn't even planned. It just started pouring today. It's a gorgeous day now, as you can see in the background here. So I'm gonna let the Jeep sit out and dry out, and I think that's the third thing, is leave the top and doors off. Don't go immediately put everything back together, because you really want the air to flow through here and get everything dried out. So all right guys, I think that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Take care. Here's some bonus footage. How much water did we capture out of the truck? I would say that's a substantial amount. That doesn't count the towel or when I pulled the plugs, but what you can see there, we've got a good, I don't know, maybe two quarts of water there. So